Hey guys, hopefully this is coming through. You guys let me know. Hey Felix, how's it going? So we did a stream actually, what was it now? Wednesday? Last Wednesday? So last Wednesday. I have a condition today called mush mouth, so hopefully this will come through. And we're just going to get into it. We're just working on some pages today. We wrapped up four breakdowns of pages 1 through 4 for Jesop King here, and we're getting into the line art and all that good stuff. I did have somebody ask, and I will let you guys know by all means if you guys have any questions about this project or anything like that, feel free to ask. I'll do my best to help you out. But this will most likely be put online in like an actual page form, where you can read it like a comic. I have the first chapter here, which is 16 pages, slated to be done this month. But I want to have at least the first chapter and a good chunk of chapter 2 started before I relaunch. So that's like 40 something pages. So I'm thinking, if I'm being conservative, like February around there. But we'll see. There's no rush. I just want to get this, more pages under our wing here as we go, and all that good stuff. So let's, without further ado, let's do some pages today. Oops, we can close that. We don't need that. And some of you guys were asking too last on Wednesday there, and I should say this too. I'm still hesitant on doing the every Wednesday show. However, what I'm thinking of doing, without it being like an actual commitment part, so I can still have some open availability to do some side stuff as well, is every night streaming from about, what time is it now? It's going on about 7 p.m. here. Actually, let me do this. I always forget. Always forget. So I want to be doing like at least 3 hours, most likely 3 hours a night for Jesop King stuff. So I figure, what the hell, we may as well stream it, and maybe we'll see. We'll see how it goes tomorrow. This will be like the first test run for this week, just to see how this is going, because I think some of you guys will get a kick out of that. Okay, let's get to it. So this is where I wrapped up here. And what I'm doing, actually, here, let me turn the text off, or lower the opacity, is I'm redrawing over this 3D model, and that's something I haven't done in a very long time. The reason for that is the line art, when I took it from SketchUp, it didn't come through, it wasn't coming through all the way, and it was very light. So unfortunately, I figured out how I could thicken it up after, but the models were already in here, so instead of, fussing with getting all the line art right, I figured we would just go ahead and do a quick trace job over the model. And that stuff here, it's not very artsy at all. But we'll be doing line art today for, I guess, the next 3 hours. Does that sound good? I want to try using the is it a ruler tool or a line tool? Curve tool, that's what I want to try. Curve, is that the right size? Yeah, it looks good. Because there's like the giant mustache part on the ship. Let's see how this looks. That's quicker that way, man. So again, if you guys can't hear me, let me know in the chat as well, just so I can make sure everything's good to go. Feel free to ask any questions or comments, or let me know what you guys are up to too. If you guys are drawing along, doing your stuff, let me know. I always like hearing what you guys are working on. Got a little chair going here. I've got some friends with me, Captain Coffee, and these little buggers. Now this stuff, these are called Oreo Thins. They are yep, that's what that is. Very low cal. I've only got a few. I'll try to munch away from you guys. one of my weakest vices when I'm drawing is something warm like coffee and like what's it called? Like a treat of some kind. So in this case, it's or like a sweet, like a pastry or something. So tonight it's Oreos because, well, as I like to say, this takes work. This takes work. Hey Colby, how's it going, my man? Yes, sexy ship indeed. All right, let's get the rest going. A little hard to see this line here. So we're gonna have a bunch of debris and all that cool stuff here. And you'll see, I'm going to be working in layers, obviously, so we can erase a lot of this stuff and all that. So let's get these guys in here. Let's get the rest of the spaceship here. So let's design some like little like piston kind of things. How's that look? Cool. Do you? Yeah, I bet. Alright, let's do this proper here. Let's get an ellipse. Sure. Rotate that. I'm trying to line it up here to the perspective that we already got. Does that look? Yes, I did. Thanks for sending me that, by the way. I have it saved in my Todoist. I'm going to hopefully either look at it today or tomorrow. But yes, I was messing around after you sent me that email. For those that aren't aware here, Pillowhead Productions, Colby, we'll call him. That's his real name anyway. Sorry, Pillow. But we were bringing in a 3D model into, or I was trying to do this. So you guys know I use 3D models because of SketchUp. Makes production faster for me anyway. Colby here did a 3D model for me of Jesop's ship, Sagan 1, and makes production so much quicker. For me, I'm very quick at designing creatures or characters or humanoid things, right? Like creatures, we'll just call it that. Vehicles and other boring straight stuff, I don't really dig it. There's a lot of people that love doing ships and vehicles, and more power to them. For me, I don't like getting hung up on trying to get that stuff right. So obviously, look at this design for the ship. It's not the best at all. It's very primitive, almost like a kid kind of. It's a circle with some squares on it, right? It's not tech design heavy. That's okay. For me, it works. But if he was able to hook me up with a model so that I can get any angle I ever want, period, with the ship, and it'll work, which is great. What I was wondering, and what he suggested, I believe in the last stream it was, hey James, was that to bring it into here into Manga Studio because you can use the 3D tools and you can adjust it. I was able to do that. I'll show you guys actually here. And I'll just quickly show you what I was looking through to try to find how do you turn a model into line art. Because if I could just do that all in here, we don't even need SketchUp, right? And that's, well, you might need it. I need it for other things, but for the production workflow here, it works. It would work beautifully here. So let me find where it was. See, I'm not too familiar with the 3D stuff just yet, so I know. Oh wait, it's this because I always minimize it. All right, so you can see right here, Sagan 1. So here, I'll just make a new document actually, just so you guys can kind of see what the hell I'm talking about. So I can just click this and drag it in, right? Oops, let's get a new layer. Drag it in and bang, it'll be ready to go once my computer catches up, which is great. And then from here, you can click on all these little options. You know, like if you wanted to click and hold, I believe is it. Let me use my mouse instead of this. So we can rotate it, you know, we can get any angle we want, which is, again, for somebody like me that doesn't like drawing this kind of stuff. It just saves time, lets me draw more, like spend more time on characters and stuff, right? So this isn't going to be a tech demo for like 3D stuff. It's 3D. This stuff's been around forever, for a while anyway, I should say, and it's just great, right? So just say this is the way I wanted the ship to be. Cool. It's there, but I can't. I could trace over this, and do what you got to do. Do what you like. For me, if I was able to turn this into line art, then we'd be talking. Hey Ricardo, how's it going, buddy? It's under the layer menu on the top. Yep. Okay, you're right. Yeah. So if you guys weren't looking over there, it's layer. Is it in here or is it window? Is it? Oh, do you have to make like a new three? Anyway, I'm not gonna. I don't. I've only got precious time here, so I don't want to noodle too much with it. But anyway, if you go over to where was it? Is it here? Yeah. So this would be the whole file or the 3D item here. You've got all kinds of things here. Stuff you can mess with here. You've got settings you can mess with the layer itself. I didn't notice this, but if we turn that off, how does this work? Line width. I guess we're going to need a light source no matter what. And I don't mean to mess with this too much. Oh, okay. See, yeah, so that's just basic lighting on a 3D object. It's just the size. Yeah, I don't care about any of this. Okay, so this is just editing the item. We don't want to do that. It was something to do over here. You can start changing stuff in here. I had it going. Oh, I think it was you click on it and it was like you could turn it into a vector layer or something. I don't know. What do we say? Hey, coach. It's there. You gotta right click on the layer. Yeah, I know. It's a whole production, this thing. But anyway, I'm gonna keep looking into this on my own time here. I'm not gonna bore you guys with it. I know there are gonna be some people that are very interested in this, and I do think it's anything that you can keep everything within the same program. That's great. But anyway, long story short, that's what I'll be noodling with in the background, and he sent me a link. I believe it was to the manual, online manual, I believe, for Manga Studio 5. So I'm going to fire around with that, see if it works, because, redrawing over things is great if you want it to look less 3D, for sure. And I think a lot of people like that. I'm impartial to it, do what you got to do. Whatever gets you working is all you can really worry about. So anyway, I'll show you guys and share that with you as I figure out a little bit more with it. So I'm just adding this kind of stuff to it just to make it feel a little bit more, hopefully make it feel a little bit more like there's some organicness kind of happening to it. Couch Potatoes asking, hey John, do you have any advice on studying another artist's style? I've been trying to pull more sources from other people I admire, but don't know where to start with it. Also been a fan of your channel for some and your work. Oh no, hey, thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. Boom. Well, I would say so. I'm gonna okay. No matter what, it's always gonna be just draw. But I do believe that if you can focus a little bit on what it is, like the why of what you're doing, you'll get better results quicker. So for me, I used to draw a lot of anatomy from like muscle magazines, George Bridgman, Loomis, Bern Hogarth, a lot of guys, a lot of stuff. And it helped me. It definitely helps me. Like I can't say that it was a waste of time. I don't believe it was a waste of time myself. However, in saying all that, if I could go back in time, I definitely would, and I wouldn't have done what I've done. I would have changed things up a bit. So what I would do is just sort of, even if it's just 5 minutes a day, and this is something I've been getting into with, it's actually not drawing, but I want to incorporate it with drawing because drawing is important. But so Street Fighter, I recently just subscribed to, if anybody that knows Gutex from the Street Fighter community. He has a class that he's got kind of going on here that you kind of do on your own. It's more like self-discipline stuff of Finding time, you just sit away 5 minutes a day to do some basic exercises, 5 minutes a day to do some advanced exercises, and then from there you can just walk away. Or if you've got some extra time, you could throw in another 5 minutes, or really as much time as you have after that, to start practicing combos, um, and doing that. And what he does is he attaches that to like a habit you already have. So let's just say you come home from school, first thing you do, fire it up, get the 10 minutes of practice, and then that's it. You don't ever have to touch it again. You're building muscle memory there, right? So what I would do is incorporate that exact same workflow, because it works no matter what. It's not a Street Fighter thing. It's just um, a habit building thing. All you have to do is worry about changing your habits and stuff. So if you're coming home from school or work or whatever's best for you, if you can find some way to attach it, maybe it's before when you get up 10 minutes earlier before you go to work, before you brush your teeth. And what I'm getting at is if you can find ways to squirrel away a little pocket of time to just, like right now here, I've got this comic here. I don't even know how many of you guys are actually into this. Adam Warren, right here, for Empowered. Now this is very sexual, cheesecake humor and art. A lot of this whole thing started from him getting commissions by people that wanted him to do bondage art. Now, whatever, but I've been a fan of this guy. And he hasn't always done like heavily sexualized stuff, and it's really it is. I don't want to play it off that it's not, but there's a lot of things in here that are whatever. But what I dig is I can have this in about every day. I'm flipping through this and just looking at things that he does. Like here, I'll show this. Just want to make sure there's nothing, whatever. There's no nudity or whatever, but you guys can kind of see. Let me get this up here so I can see what the hell I'm showing you guys. All right. Hopefully it's coming through. But what this gives me is it gives me some style that I get to look at. And I really love the action that's in this comic. And it actually mirrors the web comic I'm doing right now, Jesop King, with the same size, panel layouts. I can see how many things I can fit in and stuff. But what I'm doing is just training myself to have an influence or somebody I like that I can slowly take their stuff in. I don't think it should necessarily replace heavy study. If you want to square away like 5 days a week or a weekend or something, or one day a week of just going, this is going to be a pocket of time, an hour to 5 hours or more of just sitting down and copying what they do over and over and over again, that's going to get you huge mileage. But I wouldn't make the big portion of what you're doing just that. You need to find yourself in the art. If all you're doing is drawing, like if all I did was draw this cover and every page inside it, I would become very, very good at drawing the way he does, okay? Now, what everybody does is they'll have multiple people they enjoy, and they'll do that from everybody so that it becomes your style. And I totally agree doing that. That is super important. But there's still the fundamental building blocks that you need to understand to be able to draw it on your own. It's sort of like looking at that stuff as training wheels. You know what I'm saying? So let me just scroll up here. I know I tangented big time. Any advice for studying another artist's style? So yeah, that's what I would do. I would just make it. If this was my pie chart here of time to draw, okay, I would personally I would go like half of this. This, or actually here, hold up. This is what I would do. Yeah, we'll do it something like this, right? So 75% of my time drawing is work, meaning I'm being paid for this, or like most of you guys, if you guys don't have clients hiring you and stuff, which is totally cool, you'll get there. Don't worry about that. But make your own stuff. Work on portfolios. Make a web comic. Make a comic book. Make art. Just work. Work, work, work. There's nothing you'll ever do. Like, study is only going to get you so far. Again, if I could go back in time in a time machine, this right here, this ratio I'm going to show you, is what I would have done. Mine was this 75% was like just studying anatomy all the time. And I'm not even that great at anatomy, which is interesting. It doesn't make much sense. I think it's because I didn't apply it. And that's why to me, 75% of my stuff would be actually making something, not just drawing, okay? So 75% of what I would do would just be actual work, okay? And this other one, I would divide as much as you want, right? Like maybe we can just go like this way. I don't know. So I'm going to be bad at math here. So we've got 25% left. So you figure this out. I'm not going to start breaking this down. You guys got 25% left to break into studying. Like these are the areas where you figure out what your weakness is and start building on it. So maybe it's, I don't know, composition. Okay, so your new composition here. Actual style, like what we're talking about, like a small portion like this. Maybe you need to go double up on something. What I'm getting at is these two or three things that you're going to fill the rest of your time with should be what you want to build yourself on. What you need, what you feel you're weak at. If you're like me and you suck drawing spaceships, maybe I shouldn't be using models and I should spend this portion of time just drawing spaceships, looking on YouTube to get an idea of a quick little like assignment I can give myself, or see somebody do like a concept sheet of a bunch of different ways of drawing ships and do that. Do all those sorts of things with anatomy, whatever you got to do. If you're in your case, this is style, so just do that. But again, I know this might not be the answer you want, but I'm telling you right now, if all of your time isn't primarily focused on actually making stuff, I don't want to say that it's not going to pay off or anything because everybody's different. Just for me, if I could again, if I could go back in time, I would be making a lot more stuff than I am because it's going to start building habits that feed into the style thing. Style is something that I think a lot of people they focus way too much on. It's super important. It's the first thing people see when they look at your stuff. I get it. There's a reason why you like certain artists when you look at their work, right? I love Capcom art. Every time I see it, it's like, man, I wish I could draw more like that. You know, you grab a video game or a movie or something, the art is what grabs you right away. The design. It's super important. But that's the window dressing of the meat and the potatoes of it, you know? It's the style is the parsley, if we're gonna put some food in there. And I'm gonna answer some more questions here. I hope that helped you, coach. I know I was all over the board on that one. But anyway, I hope that helped you. Um, James is saying Jason Brubaker has a thing coming out called cognitive drawing. Check that out. Hey man, I'm not too sure what that is, but James is good people, so I'm sure he's leading you on the right way. Hey Wooden Iron. Hey John, I just got here. What are you guys doing with a 3D program? We're cheating. We're cheating our way to victory. That's what we're doing. Um, yeah, like I say, Coach, you got to find what works for you the best. I just wanted to like obviously just drown you guys with what works for me, or what I don't want to say what works for me. What I'm working on improving because I don't have the secret sauce or the secret formula figured out. Been doing this for a while and it's still new and fresh, and that's uh, scary, sad, and exciting all at the same time. So no matter what, moral of the story is just keep drawing. And I guess one last thing I will before I'm done, beating this into your guys' head is as long as you're working, doesn't matter. If you can find ways or time to work and actually sit down and do work, uh, you will notice that you'll get closer to what you want just because you're actually doing the work. All your bad habits that you have or we have, you get home. Mine right now is getting home and napping, which is so stupid because like I know I get home and I'm like, and I actually like maybe when I'm done work, I actually don't feel that tired, but I know as soon as I get home, it's like, okay, well that's the bad habit, and it's not like I need to nap all the time. Naps are fine, whatever, right? But it's like a habit now. It's like, okay, well I'm home, so the first thing I do is pet the cats, and then we're getting right in a nap. 15-minute nap. Let's go. I don't know. Just gotta find little ways of like tricking your brain, I guess, getting into better habits. Coach is saying I've just been in a rut in my own work, so I thought some studies would. Okay, so if you're in like an art block or something that people call it, really, so it's actually good. So this is something I want to stress with you guys. A lot of people talk about art block and just not feeling it. That I totally understandable, but that cannot stop you from drawing and working. Even if what you're drawing is shit, you have to keep going. It's going to build habits. Like imagine you guys here, and I'm just going to use comics as a thing, okay? And I've said this before, but imagine you want to work for Marvel DC, okay? You can't wake up one day and go, I don't feel like it. That's cool. That's cool. But there's going to be other guys and girls that come along that are more hungry, and they'll work through that. And over time, they will show that they're committed to a project even through the worst of things. They can hit deadlines. Those people are the ones that are going to get jobs. It's just like when you go to work. There's probably the people there that are like on cash or something, or wherever you guys work, and there's the people that slack, and we all know who they are, right? More often than well, maybe that's a bad example. I've worked in retail, and people that get hours don't deserve them. But anyway, hopefully you guys understand what I'm trying to say here. I'm just gonna stop. Just building good habits of just continually working through your art block, no matter what. Usually, I find too that if I can't draw, it's because my brain is thinking of solutions to problems I've been asking it day after day after day after day, and it's like there's no more computing power left. If you're like run down in energy and sick, that's a different thing. You might need more exercise or something. I don't know. I'm just talking about like that art block there. Um, Oh, James, no, yeah, James is talking about using tools available isn't cheating, it's being smart. I'm obviously with that. I was just joking. There is that argument that I don't think I have one, but if you're, I'm not going to get in the whole if you're a real artist, you wouldn't use 3D model stuff. It's more, again, goes to me, preference and style. Some people like an organic look, some people like a super clean look. Just do you, do what works for you. Whatever makes you actually do the work, do that. Stop. What I used to do is compare myself. It is good to compare yourself to people that are out there doing stuff, but I find the more you do that, the more you start to lose yourself, and you're just trying to be what's already there. And I'm never happy doing that because again, it still feels like I'm doing it for somebody else. I know it's a little back and forth there. It helps to hear directly from another artist and how they go about it. It's definitely helpful. I've been hopping on your streams. Okay, cool, man. Yeah. Feel free to talk to people in the chat too. There's lots of people on here, James especially. A lot of cats I'm seeing here, Pillowhead as well. They're always popping in and out, and they're always working on stuff. So hopefully they can help you out. Wooden Iron. Oh, John, I sent you the last page, or the last issue of Iron Man, where the guy uses 3D models. You did, yeah. Okay. You know that cheap 3D rendering. This is what it leaves you with. So I didn't reply to you yet, Wooden, but I'll just tell you now. When I saw those pages, okay. So here's the thing. It's not like Joe Madureira. It's not like this stuff, Adam Warren. It's not like Capcom style art, right? However, there's this is the thing I often wonder how many of us think about, and I don't think enough of us do. So let me just put this in context. So Wooden, what he sent me was a page from Invincible Iron Man. It was like the last page or something, and a lot. It was like basically 3D model background, 3D model characters with faces drawn over them and some shadows. Okay, for the most part. So when you look at it, yeah, no, no question, it's 3D, and anybody that's in the field like us, we know that. So right away, you either like it or you don't, right? And I'm not here to say what you should or shouldn't like. You just like what you like. Try to figure out why you like it. That might help you when you're making your own decisions and stuff. Anyway, so the one thing I often wonder how many of us actually think about, and this isn't to critique you at all, Wooden. Again, everybody's got their opinion, right? But when we look at this stuff, sometimes you can see that it's clearly, fake. We'll call it fake, right? But are you considering what the mass audience and public are thinking when they see this stuff? Probably not, because I think most of us would be surprised that most people that read comics, they don't care that it's all 3D. For the most part, they actually don't care. It's the artists that kind of get a little bit more butthurt about it. And again, not critiquing anybody. You guys just, you know me, do your thing. Whatever gets you working on pages, I'm nobody, right? Just trying to help you guys out. Mostly speaking through myself to you guys. But so I look at that stuff like Greg Land is another artist that comes to mind. That's just like, I don't know anymore if he's still like that. But a lot of the stuff he was doing was clearly like stills from movies. I think a lot of the stuff he was using was like for all the women where they were like from pornos or something. That was the rumor that went around. There's a couple articles that went around. I remember with images of like the face or something like that, like with women yelling and all that garbage. Uh, but the vast majority of people, they can't even they can't even tell when there's like a mistake in your perspective and stuff. It's whoever's looking at the stuff with the fine tooth comb. They're the ones that see the stuff and then it pops out. Um, so where I'm getting at with that is maybe, and this is something I've been trying to think a lot more like, and this has come from you guys have heard me talk a lot about Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, he goes by online. He's a lot of social stuff. where he starts saying like there is definitely something to be said for being creative and trying to break the mold and come up with something new, 100%, and that should never go away. The difference is when a lot of us we fight against the flow of like waves of pop culture just hitting us and hitting us. Like, let's just assume that 3D art became the thing. That's what comics all are now. That's all 3D stuff. But it's making money, money, money. People are getting jobs, lots of work going around. A lot of us that might not like to work in that way, we might be against that, right? And we're saying people are stupid for looking at that stuff. People are dumb. That's great. But in our small circle of people making this stuff, there's a whole vast world of the market that's telling you we want this stuff, right? So that's all I'm suggesting anyway, and this isn't again obviously to you wouldn't. It's to everybody. Just it's been a big thing for me to change my mindset of going, you know what? Push away a little bit of my reservedness of like I want only this to being like I'm okay with letting more of what people want from me. That's it. An example is I've been doing just a couple local shows, conventions, and all of like I would do like here. I'll show you guys. Maybe I don't have them. Do I got them? Let's see. Actually, here. You know what? I'll open up my Facebook. You guys can see because I just want to show you guys an example here. And again, I'll just talk you through it. This is fun stuff to talk about anyway. Photos. Bum ba bum. Your photos. Okay. So I want to go. Yeah. All right. This will work. Okay. So let's bring this down here. Plug it in there. Let you guys look at that while I get this all set up. Okay. So that's me. And right down here, this. These little babies. Sorry. Okay, so I'm sitting there at the conventions and stuff, and I'm like, I want to draw. Um, my girlfriend's brother, he asked me maybe a week or two before the show, because he saw the Ninja Turtle pinup we did, if I had any X-Men or anything, and I was like thinking, I haven't drawn any like X-Men. Everybody always asks for Wolverine and stuff, but I want to draw something for me, some Cyclops. Cyclops is my favorite X-Men. I don't know why. So I'm doing this. I'm sitting there doing the process that we all see, right? You can see I got my rough lines. I think this is like a 0.5 or a zero point 0.1 micron. And I start tightening up the art, doing my thing. I'm like, yeah, this is cool. Like I'm having fun. I enjoy it. Then I get my gray pencil on there, and then we get our water brush, and we start blending all that pencil together. And then, did I not take a picture of it final? No, okay. Well, anyway, on this side, then we ink it up. It looks really cool. I love it. I'm having fun. You can see a Batman, Harley Quinn. Great stuff. This is what, to me, like if I was drawing these characters, it would look like this, right? And I'm thinking, it's a comic book convention, like people would probably like it. I don't know. Everybody's up to their own thing. Everybody can like their own thing, of course, right? It's all good stuff. Let me show you what started really selling. And this isn't to belittle the art or the whatever it is. So this right here, a cute little. Really, it looks almost as if this was a legit body and I just put a cute Colossus head on there, right? Cute little thing. Hulk. Some weird looking Hulk saying some cartoony Smash thing. So deep down inside, I'm sort of like, whoa, like why is this cute stuff selling? Like I really wish people would like my Thanos, or they would like some more serious stuff, that. But this is what I'm getting at. Once I pull back and go, okay, you know what? If people want this cartoony stuff, I don't mind doing it. But there's something in the back of my head that's always like, but you can do better. So maybe you should do better, which is probably really weird. And I often wonder if that's just the business side of an artist conflicting with the artist itself. So my mind is saying you could make potentially a lot of money on just doing cartoony, cute stuff. But the art side's like, yeah, but I want to draw, like some more detailed kind of stuff. So it goes back and forth. I don't even know what the question was. I've been rambling so much. uh, yeah, actually, here I'm going to show you here, Pillow. on the model that you have, you can't really see it. This tucks up in here, so it's. You're right. I should probably here. I'll do it right now because it will look better with it. Let's just get a little pipe here. I'm considering just leaving that off in future ones, just because I don't want to keep tinkering with the models and stuff. But thanks for spotting that out for me. Hey Gary, how's it going, man? Howdy, man. I appreciate all the advice. How are you flipping mirror the page? Is it a hotkey? If you're using Manga Studio or Clip Studio, I don't know if this is on the default one, but if you go up here, it says flip horizontal. You can just click that on and off. If you want, you can go to File, Command Bar Settings. I believe that's right. Yeah. And this little pop-up will come up. And what you guys can actually do is you can go in here. So I think I have View, Rotate. Yeah. No, it's one of these ones. Flip horizontal. What you can do is you actually click and drag and add it, and you can actually make all this up here customizable, right? So, like, let's say I don't do this often, but I'm rotating, right? And I'm like, cool. There's a little button here you can click, and it auto puts it back to the same, being like 90 degrees, that kind of stuff. I don't really use it, but there's, if I want to click that, I can quickly go to like full screen mode. So you can totally customize it as much as you want. So check that out. Hey Monsterism, how's it going? Hey John, can't watch since it's late here in the UK. I want to say, well, hello. I appreciate you popping in. Cool. All right, so let's get this going here. It's already been like a half hour, just talking too much. Okay, so we got Jesop here. His hands are out. He's actually very small here, so again, I'm not sure if we're going to be coloring this. I'm leaning towards, yeah, we will be coloring it. So I just want to leave most of this open. Just leaving the areas where there's going to be design. Those Pokeballs. Let's put these color spots here. These little boots. Okay, let's grab our wand. Should just select him. Then we'll hit F9. This way. Now the reason why this is happening is it this one or this one? Yeah, it's on multiply. Let me see if we put normal. Yeah, so you see, so now I've got Jesop here. You guys are familiar with this. So I can, move him around if I wanted to adjust him. Now, like right there doesn't make sense because he's in front of the ship, but maybe we just move over this way. Now he's getting too tight. So we might have to just go like this and shrink him a bit. There you go. I just don't want his hands butting up with stuff like that. And the other thing too is since we have this other layer back here, we've got like this border so we can add a quick contour line. Super handy. So it's got Momo in here. And I'm going to do something different here with that. We're just going to do the same thing on this character here. See, like this is how big this is on a screen, on like on a phone or something. When you see this, those details are gone. So no point stressing out about that. Yeah. So think this one is pretty much done. We're gonna put some background elements and stuff. Let me just highlight these guys. Okay, I believe all this is just the ship. So let's put all the line art together. Cool. And let me just get off this chair. I don't want to sit too much. Sit all day at work. Okay. So we're going to do like the old school way of doing contour lines. How heavy do I have up here? Yeah, it's good. If you just hold shift down, you get like a straight line. This is just for like
quick head start when we get to inking. These pages have actually been going really quick. And to be fair, it's not. I know the main reason for that is because these aren't like 11 by 17 size. And usually there's about 3 to 5 panels per page here. But I want to show you guys this too. And again, I don't want to make this a plug for Patreon, but on Patreon I'll be posting the video on this. So on Patreon, there's like I have for $1, you get like all my updates that I'm putting out throughout the week for this content or anything else that I'm uploading, like sketches and process stuff. For $3, it's all that plus like comic making things that I do. So what I wanted to show is sort of like I'm going to go through a page from thumbnail to breakdowns. And I want to show you that the breakdowns are kind of it's like silhouette mixed with like line art. But I wanted to show you guys it just so you guys can kind of see because it's actually been pretty cool. So this page here, this one, the reason why I think it's cool to show this because it shows you can get volume in an image with just using black or shades of gray. And I know it'll be a huge leap for a lot of people that aren't used to working like this. There's a channel that I think a lot of you are familiar with, Sketchcraft. Go check him out. Absolutely wonderful channel. Great content. This method here, he didn't come up with it. This is more, I don't know who did. I just, from how I found it, was through concept art. However, to give credit where credit's due, it was through his channel that it made me think maybe I should just start doing this in comics because at my day job where I do concept art, I do this all the time, and there's a reason for that. And I just want to show you why, right? So, like, this character here, let me just, here, we're going to draw over this here so you guys can see. So let me just grab a big fat black brush here. So what I did is literally something like this. It would have looked something like, let me just make sure it's all here. Just a black shape. And this does take work, obviously, but anything takes work that needs to be done, right? So I have this shape here because what's happening is there's these creatures running across. And you know how hard it is to design creatures and stuff, right? Like just things. But when you have a black shape, you can kind of let your imagination take over, right? So if I turn this off, all this is drawn over. You can either draw in white or I use an eraser, just get a nice small eraser. And do you see what I'm doing here? I'm turning that shape. I'm putting volume around that around certain shapes, like right here. So there's like this line. There's like black shape. This could be anything. So I decided to turn it into an arm. Is that arm behind the shape, right? Because if it was behind it, it could look something like this. Whoops! What the hell's going on? Turn that off. Right. So if we kind of have it coming this way like that, maybe this one goes behind it as well. So now I can kind of see, like maybe we got like these kind of crab legs coming at us, but now I can see like this is maybe the front. You know, we put some eyes here, right? You can do anything. I've got like these shapes back here, so I could like maybe start playing with like the rounded shape in the background, and all these little legs are tick, 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 going off in the background, right? This still works, but now we can also do some design stuff in here too, right? You can kind of get wild with it. You can go, I don't know, maybe we'll put like little shapes like this. Maybe he's got like a little mouth, a little like teeth that stick out or something, right? Maybe he's got multiple eyes. I don't know. But this is why this works so powerfully in concept art. The amount of work this just took is not the same as if I were to try and do this, right? Arguably, how we would normally draw, right? Like trying to figure out a crab. So we have here and some legs and some eye. Do you see what's happening? It's tougher to see it all, and it's very important. It doesn't work for everybody, but again, I just want to show you. So this is one we just did here, and then this is one that I had, right? So it's the same thing. It's following this, and you can kind of see what I did here. You can start rounding out the backs, and this is like I say, your rough pencils. You don't, or I don't anyway. Don't need to necessarily redraw every little thing here. This is what Jesop looks like. And I'm comfortable enough with the character that I can pencil over or tight lines over this, right? But the reason I wanted to show you guys this is another reason, anyway, is how quickly you can just sort of like gesture in a place, right? Like with shades of gray. So we'll just do one real quick here with you guys, just so you can kind of see it. And maybe you guys might want to try it with your own projects. So we'll assume we'll do like a, here's our panel, whatever, right? Maybe it's a city. And we're just going to do a traditional city shot here, okay? So check this out. I'm just going to get like a big fat brush here, just using pressure sensitivity. So I got some extreme foreground elements here, right? Like some buildings or something. And maybe we want to put, I don't know, the idea of like a fire escape or something. That's a bitch to draw. Nobody likes drawing that stuff. But I can kind of put little levels in here. I don't know. Let's do like a big water tower. This is taking no time. And I don't mean that to make this sound like it's much easier than it is, but whatever, right? And maybe I can even do this. This is like pretty powerful stuff. This is all great for composition, right? So check it out. Like, okay, cool. Now we're going to have like some, I don't know, some wires. And we'll do the classic thing, right? These are going to be shoes or something, right? Now, you make a layer underneath of it and you just go up a gray. And this is where you're pushing stuff. So now maybe I'm going to put some buildings back here. You're like, what's the composition going to be that's going to help this? So maybe we do some like layered stuff. Right? Like maybe we can kind of figure out some buildings here. And this is taking really, obviously with practice, but doesn't take remotely as close to enough as the same kind of time as if I was to just sketch this out in pencil, sort of figure it out. And then maybe I can just go with here now, right? Like, okay, maybe now we can put some clouds or something. I don't know. But right away, all I need to do now, right, is you can grab another piece of paper, however you like to talk with this digital stuff, fill it, lower the opacity a bit, Or actually, I should say before we go there, the step that I like to do is, let me just merge, we'll do this in white. So I'll get the same brush or whatever, make it pretty small, and just grab white, and just sort of gesture in stuff. So now I can figure out, like, what is the perspective going to be? Is it flat, or are we going to actually do something like this, And I can kind of like roughly construct in some shapes of this fire escape or whatever we're going to do here, right? Maybe I want some windows here or something, but do you guys see what I'm saying here? Right? We can put some of these lines going over top of each other, whatever. But this is giving us a lot more room for experimenting and design, and especially composition. And why I really enjoy incorporating this anyway, with what I'm doing anyway, is that for the longest time when I would send art or when I went to art shows and I bring my portfolio up, a lot of people would give me the same criticism of, like the rendering looks good, your shadow work looks good, yada yada, but it's hard to see what's going on, hard to tell like what's around and all this sort of stuff, and it's very hard to break out of that. You can only try to be as clear as possible, right? It's more of like I just need to see this stuff over and over and over and over again so that I can understand what's kind of going on. But when you work, for me anyway, when you work like this, like there you go, bang, it's done for the most part, right? And then you get your perspective ruler in there, and then you can start drilling out, putting in some hours and getting a beautiful looking shot. I think it's super important to at least experiment and try it, because again, like you can get like organic kind of shapes that you might not normally get out of your compositions, and just again, it's just, I keep saying this, but again, for me, it's something that I've had a surprising reaction to in terms of clarity and just being a little bit more creative, I suppose, with poses and characters and things. Hey X13, hey Jonathan, was wondering if you use any reference in your latest quick warm-ups vid. No, I didn't. And I'll show you guys that video here. I'll turn the volume off on it so you guys won't have to watch it, but I think it's a minute. So I've been doing these small, shorter videos. They're about like a minute, minute and a half. We won't necessarily watch the whole thing, but where is my channel? So I wanted to start seeing if I can make some videos for people, that are just quick stuff. And these ones have been getting, pretty good feedback for what they are, and I understand it because it's only a minute, and people dig this kind of stuff too, right? Hey everybody, welcome back to another minute and a half warm up. We're doing. So I'll just put a full screen. So this is pretty much it. So what X13 is asking is if I was looking at reference for any of these, and the answer is no. Sometimes what I'll do is all like I said at the start here, when we were coach, I think it was Coach Potato was asking about like artist block and breaking all that stuff. But for the most part, what it is just I'll dedicate like 5 or 10 minutes. Right now, I'll show you guys the book once this is done, and I showed it earlier last week, and I've been going through that just to figure out more stronger gesture shapes because the style and the anatomy you put over top of it's whatever for the most part. It's this stuff that's really super important. So I'll do like a study of that, and then I'll just wrap it up with like a 5-10 minute, just let the brain flow. So some of these may be influenced by that stuff, but I don't have anything necessarily beside me, and I'm copying it verbatim. And you guys can see it's quick scribbles. So you could use the silhouette method too. I don't really care. This one, I'm sort of stretching my wings out a little bit. I like to call it where how many of these things scribbles can I turn into something by putting like some volumetric shapes over top of it, right? And then just for kicks, like a super quick pass of shadow. Then that's pretty much it. So I've been posting, I think, what, one a week of these. I think we're on the second one. So I'll have another one up this week too. I think they're just fun to watch. People dig them. But yeah, so the stuff that I'm looking at is from this book here. It's part of the Masters of Anatomy set. This one's called Anatomy in Action. And again, really, it's this. This is all that I care about. Is these little poses here? Because if you look, there's no real, there's no like if I look at this, it's all style. Or actually, if I look at her, it's all like that's a style of it, right? But when you're doing stuff like this, any artist could put their own style over top of it. So that's why, to me, that's super important. I don't know if that's coming out clear enough, but literally this whole thing, and I have to do a video for this with you guys. This whole thing is pretty much every single pose that you'd ever find in a comic book, which is great. Um, the finished art, I really don't care too much about. I could have done without it, to be honest. I mean, it's nice to have it in there. You guys can't even see that. But those quick little like gesture drawings, to me, are worth that book. And VF saying, yeah, with the initial sketching, you might overthink a design, end up going into detail, and you won't need it right away. Absolutely. And I know it's more stuff to worry about, and it's not for everybody, but that's okay. All right, where do we leave off here? All right, so let's keep this going. Whoops, I'm not even using the same stuff. No, we want line art. So I just want to add that. It's not in the model, but it just helps break this stuff up. And we'll go here. I'm actually really excited to get the next panel because it's the characters. Right now has all been like the setup stuff. Okay, so let's zoom out here, just see where we're at. Cool. Put the characters in. They're done. Save. Now there's some smoke elements here, so I'm going to make another folder for that. In this smoke, I've been using my inking brush. I don't even know if I'm going to keep this stuff, but it's nice to have it before we get to the inks. How's that look? put a little smoke here just to frame it a little better. And make a layer underneath it, and we're just going to draw in white. And what this does is it just erases the ship behind the smoke. But if I find by the time we get ready for inks, if I don't like that and I want the ship back, it's always the integrity of the ship is still there. I'll show you guys in a minute what I mean. So let's say I'm right here. The smoke is like cool, I'm ready to ink, but I don't really like it. Instead of having to redraw a straight line, I know it's not a lot of work, but in context, sometimes it'll be like huge things, and it's always fun to just be able to go back and okay, so there's at least some integrity still left of the image, which is I think it's something not a lot of digital artists do, and it's a big thing to be able to do that when you're doing digital. So if you guys are, that's you guys, you might want to get in the habit of just trying that stuff out anyway. So this one I'm gonna put background. And here, let me take a look at the rocks we kind of have. I'm gonna put a little rock here. Whoops. Let's just be the extreme foreground. Just closing that shape up here. Let's get a contour on that right away. Cool. Oops. Hey Inkbot, how's it going, man? How far in roughs are you for Jesop? I am 4 pages deep. I've got all the thumbnails done for issue 1, which is 16 pages, and I believe that means chapter 2 is going to be 24 pages. I'm not following the 22-page guide stuff. It's just as I was doing the thumbnails, like this would be a cool way to end a chapter. And yeah, so I've got that one done, and I'm working in batches of 4 pages. So if I do 4 pages a week, 4, 8, 12, 16, 4, 8, 12, 16. So that'll give me a month to finish this. But regardless, I'm trying to do at least 3 hours a night, except on like weekends or if I have the day off. I'll do as much as I can. That way I'll guarantee hit the deadline. I know I can do more than 4 pages a week because of how simple this current version is. Once we get into coloring, that's going to be the big thing that lets me know how much of this stuff, how long this actually takes. I'm so hesitant on it because it's like bad lettering. You could have a horrible script, but if the lettering is done right, at least it doesn't take you out of the comic. So I'm trying to learn how to do proper lettering. I'm looking at comics as much as I can, my favorite ones that I like, kind of seeing what they do and do my best with it. I'll learn as we go. Everybody does that, right? Everybody learns. And the same thing with the coloring. That's why I'm like, coloring. I'm still learning coloring. I do a lot of coloring at work, and I'm much better now than I was 3 years ago when I started working there. But that's still to say, like, I'm not necessarily doing scenes like this, right? Like, I could color this no problem, but when they go into like a mountain and it's just like one light source, like, and then the shadows become purple and they're holding yellows and reds, So it's sort of one of those things that goes back and forth. You do everything you want because there should be a purpose behind doing it. For me, I just want to be able to relax and do a comic book. That's it. The stress is coming in, not with all this. This is blah. The coloring, or do I go grayscale? I don't know. Grayscale, I'm comfortable, but color, I know more people will want to read it. But then it goes into the thing of the lettering. If the coloring sucks, it stands out. You know, it's like get a new colorist. So that might be something to worry about. Maybe I have to hire a colorist. I don't know. For now, I'm not even worried about it. I'm going to do the best I can and not let my mind start giving me doubt. Just hammer pages and go, go, go. So let's turn off all this crap. Panel 2 is pretty much done, I believe. So if I turn off breakdowns, where's this? This guy, we don't need you. What is that? We don't need you either. Okay, so that's pretty much how it looks. So cool. Let me look off screen. It's funny when I have all the detail in there, I don't like it, but when I turn it off, like this has that feeling that it's sort of hovering in the air. I do dig that. So we're hovering, and then we land, and then we're gonna get into the good stuff here. Then we get to draw our characters. Pumped. So I'm gonna put 2 folders here. This one we'll call Jesop. This one we'll call Momo. And I want to draw Jesop first, so that's what we'll do. VF is saying I'm stuck on the environment concepts of the comic I want to do. Really? One thing that I tried to do, you guys could try this. So if you're like me, I love doing concept design. Like I really enjoy it. I almost put it on the same level of just comic books, and it's a little, I'm hesitant to say that because that means that it's like, oh, you don't love doing comics? Comics are so much work. There's so much more money to be made in concept art and stuff, and blah blah blah. You can have a career in concept art. But I just like coming up with the worlds and the story. So I could lose myself in just doing concepts. And I have done that on many projects. Those of you that have been following this channel for a while, you know that new shiny has been a huge distraction to my detriment. So with this, what I've decided to do is how many corners can I cut to come up with stuff? So something that might help you if you guys are doing concept staging anyway. Excuse me. Go to make an Evernote account that's free. Or even, I'd say Evernote, but Pinterest works as well. Pinterest is its own thing. Evernote, you can save anything from anywhere online, okay? And just have an idea in your head. Let's say, like right now, I have a rock world. So what I'll do is I'll just go on Google, I'll go on Pinterest, I'll search things like rock world or rock concepts, stuff like that, and just spend like a day or two, whatever, and just collect reference in there. And what you do is when you're making your comic, you just look at that reference. It's not cheating. It's, you know what I mean? Like a lot of comic book artists, it's like, okay, you need to draw New York City. No one knows what New York City looks like unless you live there. So you're looking up on Google Images, right? It's the same thing here. If a lot of your concept time is creating characters, do the same thing, like elves and dwarves and orcs and space marines or whatever the hell, superheroes. Build like a little catalog and pick what you think you might like in the comic. And then when it comes time to draw like the bad guy of the story here, I can go, okay, look at Skeletor or whoever. I don't know. I'm just using that as a name and go, all right, I can see Skeletor mixed with Cheetor mixed with like Terminator. I don't know. And it's not going to be the best design you ever made because you're not taking the time to actually do it. But again, it's that if you're getting stuck on those things, it will help you get there, and you will get better over time. But if you think about doing a comic yourself, like just think about that. It's insane. There's a lot of things going on there. So don't get too stuck up or stuck up. That sounds wrong. Don't get too caught up in trying to find the perfect when there's so much out there that can get you started anyway, and that might be able to help you out. Hobby, how's it going, man? Web is great. No need to worry about multiples of 40. Is that what you're saying? Sorry. VF. Oh, I'll have to try the 4-page workload. See how long does it take? I just want to say the 4 pages right now. You can do whatever you want. 4 isn't the magical number. 4 for me is what I want to do in a week. That's all. If you can only do 2 or 3, do that. What I recommend is trying that batch workflow where you just do the roughs of all the pages you're going to do that week. Some people, they like for me, I like to thumbnail the entire book and then start working in batches. I like to square away time because when I'm doing the thumbnails, to me, that's like the hardest part of the whole gig. And I need to be in there and I don't want to forget. It's like a moving movie or a picture in my mind. I want to make sure I get that rhythm down. I don't want to spread that out over too much time. But like roughs, breakdowns, inks, colors, that kind of stuff, you can do batch work with that. It keeps the energy high and all that good stuff. A lot of science behind working like that too. Yep, no, I was thinking about that as well. Thank you, Via, for bringing that up. Doing black and white, and then if this ever gets printed in a book or something, I don't know. I have no intent for that right now. We can look into doing color. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Not sure. Pillowhead. Why one light thingy has line in it and the other one doesn't? Oh, thanks, man. I'm glad you're over here. You're my editor tonight. No, thank you. I'm going to do that before we get in there. Thank you. It's because I'm answering a bunch of questions, so my mind's all over the place right now. Okay, so he's talking about we got the lines here, but we have none here. So let's square this one away. Sweet. Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay, so I feel like we might be too zoomed in here for the brush we're using. I'm excited to draw this panel because this is the first time, right, that we'll see the characters. So it's important. It's an important spot in a comic when you finally get to meet the characters, you know, like what they look like. It can be a little intimidating, right? Because you want it to be perfect. Like later on in the comic, when you know stuff's happening, you can kind of get a little. Not that you want to, but there's a little reader forgiveness of how sloppy it gets. Might be different when it's a web comic because a lot of people will be seeing the pages fresh every time, right? A few people will see it as it comes out or go back and look at all that stuff in bulk. And if you're doing that, then it's okay because it's really hard to see all your little like mistakes, you know, little dimples. No, no, it's hey man, I'm glad you picked it up now instead of me having to go back, you know. A wooden iron. I am copying Otley's Invincible right now. I just learned that it's coming to an end, 12 issues. I know. I'm sad about that too. And he is a tremendous person to be studying, so have lots of fun with that. He's a wonderful artist. Okay, so where is his elbow? There. And of course, he's got to have the abnormally large muscles. Or else it just wouldn't be Jesop, right? Actually, let me see something here. Oh, I did merge it all together, right? Damn. Alright. Actually, what the hell? This is digital. So let's go to breakdowns. This one. What I'm going to do is grab. That's what I want. I drew through him on this one, that's why. Hey, Jefferson. Alright. One, two. Yes. Uh-oh. You started an animation, did you? I'm excited. How's it coming along? It's coming, yeah. Oh no, man, do what you want. Jesop right now is just an idea, right? Until we get an actual comic coming out. I just find it cool that people are even making stuff, right? Because like to me, it's nothing's even the story's not even out yet. Like, but there's something with the design that for whatever reason I'm grateful for it. But for whatever reason, people seem to really like the big mustache or the big muscles. I'm not sure what. Um, so yeah, people want to do fan art, all kinds of stuff. By all means, that's awesome. Yeah, no, like the way Jessup looks right now, this is not appropriate for animation at all. When I was in animation class, I used to draw characters like this. No, it's a very bad idea. Very bad idea. So you're being smart by not drawing them like this. Astrodogs. It's the mustache plus small eyes plus nice color palette that does it. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so the tentacles or whatever they are, they're just kind of moving around. I like that. I have to clean up his face a bit here once we get to inking. I think Jessup's good. Let's just close up our lines here. We can get a contour line around them. Oh, I think I see an open. Oh no, cool. All right. That'll be fun to color. Okay, so let's take a look here. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this contour layer off. Actually, Momo can go ahead of Jesop. I can turn that contour layer off so we can still see her. Now she's got a new design. She doesn't look the same anymore. Where did I have that? Give me a second here to try to figure that out. Yeah, I don't think it's. I think I have it in my Evernote. One second, you guys. I actually have to save it over here anyway. Long hair and water. It's a. I never really thought about how it would animate. Just like I know I do like the classic stuff where if she's moving kind of thing, it would just trail behind her kind of stuff. Okay, let's try Jessup. Okay, copy that. File new. So this is her new design. She kind of has like this face pattern on her. File, save as. I know we already have one kind of going. Momo design. We'll put 2. Still have to come up with a color. I don't know if we're gonna stick with the same color I had before, but we'll see. Not quite sure yet. I got some on my nose. See you later, Wooden. Thanks for popping in, bud. Sorry, I'm just doing figure out some of this stuff here we're gonna have to fix. So her pattern that I put on her face is just to give her a little bit more like design now. No, she doesn't have cornrows. Somebody else asked something. They look like a hairnet. Oh my gosh, what is on my nose? What it is, really? Here, let me just. I don't. Do we need this anymore? No. So this would be like this. Oh my goodness, I just want to minimize this here. So she'll look a little something like this here. And she's got like her crown is a much simpler, more silhouette friendly design. So if she was totally black, this crown, if you guys remember, she had a crown plus it looked like a ponytail kind of coming this way, and that's great, but it made her silhouette really messy. So I tried to figure out a way, give her still some eyelashes and all that stuff. Um, but by adding the crown like this, it breaks up the design so I can keep the hair simple. So I was trying to figure out like how do we still keep her cute and all that. So she's still gonna have her, the smile or whatever she would have with. Oops, let me just fix this. Smile she would have with the buck teeth, try to keep her looking a little younger. And the freckles I always liked, But whatever her color ends up being, it would be something like let's just do, purple. So this would just be, whoops, like a second. It's a tone of color. That's all it is. It's not. She doesn't have any hair anymore. So we go like there, and let's just say her skin was I don't know like a cream or something. Then it would go in like that. And when I was doing some tests on the side, even the color that we can pick will harmonize a lot better than what's going on here, right? So you can bring in the design kind of something like that, and it just makes it more of like a more simple, not aggressive, a simple flat design that works well in any situation. Again, imagine this is the point of silhouetting, right? If I were to just fill it black, oops, fill it black, this stands out a lot better than it did before because before it would look something like this. Right, so this was like the crown or something on the side, and then we had a little bow over here with the hair like that. And there's a lot going on up there. It's still fine, but it almost looks like these should both be ponytails. Or to me anyway, this just looks like a cleaner design. So that's that. It's I understand the cornrows comment, and like again, somebody else did mention that it felt like a hairnet until I described it a little better. Okay, so she got that there. Maybe we can put like a little. I think she's frustrated a bit. And we can put a little crown on her. There's a Alright, so we got that, and then we can do the tentacles now. I'm not sure if we're gonna. Let's try it out. Let's see how it goes. Close that. Before we were doing her tentacles this way. Let's try it again. I just want to see something. How many we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, sorry for all the sniffles, you guys. I think I might be coming down with something. Alright, let's move her head above all the tentacles here. Yeah, we're just gonna dot the eyes here. That way we can see how all this is coming together. Okay, cool. Okay, so we get that there, and then was it F9? Cool. So now she'll be over top of the tentacles. That's cool. I kind of like them. The reason why I wanted to try that out is that I wanted to give the tentacles like some different shape. I don't want it just to be like this flat noodle. The noodle was fine, but I wanted to see if there was like a little bit extra range we could get there. Yeah, inside the ship's gonna be gross. I'd be lying if I said I was excited about that. All right, so now what's really fun is now that we kind of have her done, we can play with. Okay, so her contour line. Let's get it. All right, let's turn Jesop's layers back on so we can see what he's looking like. Okay, I want to his cons or his can't even speak. His contour line. How thick's that look? Yeah, that's good. So that's 5. So she needs to be more than that. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it works. So now we'll just go through all these and bring them back to 7. It's kind of tedious, but actually, let's just do this. Okay, so let's grab our object selector tool. So this one now we can. What's the shortcut for this? Is it O? Let's try K, O. Sweet. So now we can kind of move the tentacles around too, right, to figure things out a little bit more. Because you might want something that's like this one here. I like how it's, or sorry, this one back here should probably overlap that one. So I can just drag it and just move it over like that. Do you see how what's happening here? Sometimes you can start getting some like really cool overlapping shapes, which can look nice. Let's keep going with that one. That's kind of nice. Alright, it makes it look a little bit more busy, but it's kind of cool. kind of like it like that. Cool. Thanks, VF. Their tentacles are kind of like worm texture. Actually has a yeah, it's alright. I was debating. I was actually going back and forth on this, like if I add it, because if this texture's not on here, it makes her more soft. Uh, and I think that's better for the design, all in all. But once her story starts playing out, I'm hoping it. I don't know. We'll see. For now, these are decisions I don't need to be thinking about too much right now. Now, the background. Do I need a background? We're just gonna leave it empty. What are we thinking? I'll leave it empty for now. So this page is pretty much done. So this is our line art, right? So we can just save that. I'm not going to worry about inking or anything right now. What time is it? Okay. So let's open up page 2. Okay, go to breakdowns. Page 2. All right. So what do we got going on here? So you see Pillowhead? This is the stuff I was talking about, where, or everybody else in the room too. When you're messing with 3D models, sometimes, unfortunately, you get these, or at least when you're importing it from the way I do from SketchUp, you get to see all these. What are they called? Vertices? Is that right? Vertices are the faces here. Um, it's not good when we're doing this sort of stuff because we have to paint over it. A lot of this stuff is pretty simple shapes, which is great. Um, so we'll just quickly draw over that. So here we go. Panel. How many panels have we got here? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, oops. So panel 5. Panel 4. Hey, if that's the problem I have to fix is erasing some lines for a model, it's all good, man. Jesop coming. Guess not. There he is. Hey, buddy. Hey, Jojo. You all done sleeping? Hey, you all done your nap? You're sleeping for a while. Hey, here, you want the chair? Here, you want to come over here? Want to come on up? Hey, want to come up and get some pets? Come here, bud. You want to come on up, Jojo? Hey. Here. Hey. Alright. He's rubbing on stuff. Those were the days. You jumping up? Come on up. Come on. You coming up or what? Can't know what the hell you're doing. Hey, Karen. Welcome back, man. Jessup, you coming up, bud? Come on. Oh, stubborn. If Jessup were to have a voice, what would it sound like? Armstrong from Full Metal Alchemist. I don't know what he sounds like. Um, hmm, I don't know. Never really thought of it. I would assume it's a big bellowing voice, but whoops, what the hell? To me, in my mind, Jessup's always been a character that was like a mix of, I guess, like Captain America and He-Man. Like he's the biggest goody two shoes kind of character. He'd much rather talk his way out of a situation than fight. That kind of thing. So because of that, I'm assuming he's not gonna be as popular as, like, let's say Momo, who's like the total opposite of that. Oops, I need another window of this. Braum from League. Yeah, I don't know too much of League of Legends characters. You've been running your Patreon for a bit now. Any knowledge or experience you've gained that you can share that made you go, I wish someone had told me that? Hmm. I think Patreon, like my Patreon, I think it could be better than it is. I would say, however, there's two things. One, what mine initially was just a way to ask for people to support. Sounds like a weird word for me, but donation, I guess, sounds a little better for whatever reason. Of you know, like the YouTube content and stuff I was making. Um, I get paid from YouTube maybe once every 4 months. It's usually about $100. And Patreon is another way that you can make money without having to like do the like I don't want to be a YouTube guy. Like I don't there's tons of other artists on here that have, daily shows or 3 to 4 shows a week talking about like like they sit down and they actually think about the topic that they want to discuss. It's like it's YouTube, it's a show, right? And I didn't ever want to be that. I just wanted to use YouTube as a platform to reach a different audience that I probably never would have gotten anywhere else. So that's all that was. And through that, you're always going to meet new people and all that cool stuff. But just to answer your question specifically, know why you're making it. If it's just to make money, I don't think you'll make as much as if you did what I'm hoping will be the transition that I'll be making with this comic again, because I'm going to slowly start turning it into like a Jesop King Patreon with my own stuff that's sprinkled in there that I like to do anyway, like my audio. Like I do a podcast like once or twice a month called Scribble Chat, or it's just ideas that I'm talking about or things I'm going through and stuff like that. Not everybody's into that, but some people are interested in you as the creator, kind of thing, right? And I do think that's where a lot of us, especially online, where you can grow, right? Like anybody could do a comic book, and there's a lot of similarities between comic books, right? But the beauty about the internet is this right here, this transparency that is there. Like I'm not pretending to be somebody else right now. I'm just being me, right? And a lot of people, not a lot, that makes I feel like that makes it sound like it's more than it is. But there's obviously the people that are able to make it in the chat, the people watching, the people that watch recorded versions, and the followers that choose to watch videos. There's something there that you guys enjoy, which is cool. And because of that, that's going to separate you from other people, not on like you're going to be up here and they're all down there, but it's just a sea of people and you can latch on to people that you enjoy, right? So Patreon for me, the way that I looked at it was if people wanted to throw $1 my way, thank you so much, and because of that, you don't have to do anything. But Patreon, sort of the way other artists are doing it, they encourage that you post new content or content specific stuff. That's why you'll find a lot of web comics are just a Patreon for that webcomic, and that's the switch I want to start to make, because this kind of thing we're doing right now, I'm gonna always do this no matter what, because this is like long-term growth, like down the road. People might come back if Jessup becomes anything in a year, 2 years, who knows, right? They might come back and check the stuff out, or you guys might be interested in doing a comic or something, and something I'm doing is interesting. It's an all work, like it's all a gain, right? It's a win-win no matter what you're doing. As for the actual comic stuff, that's where the other thing is where I think it'll grow better, because there are people like web comics are free and for most part, and everything I'm going to be doing is sharing it online. Everything will be free, all the places I post it. I'm looking into like maybe comicsology or something for getting like chapters, like let's say the first chapter in the second chapter, or like when I get up to like let's say 50 or 100 pages, and then selling that for like $1 or $2 with some a little extras. I've heard has been very lucrative for people, and that's an angle I'd rather look at. Right now, I'm not really caring about making the money. I just want to put this out there. And so with the Patreon stuff is, again, this is a really long-winded thing. I'll get the punchline in a second. But the Patreon stuff is, there are some of you out there that really are interested in the behind-the-scenes stuff, the in the trenches kind of stuff. And that's where, again, where you separate it. Like Patreon is that. So if you like the webcomic, if there's things that are interesting in there, you know that on Patreon you do have access to something, so it's there. And then it's up to you if you want to pledge or not, right? And that's not my call. That's everybody else's call. My call, or the only thing I get to do is show it to people, and then it's up to those people to decide on their own if they're interested in it. So all I can do is keep showing more and more people, right? That's it. So to answer your question, for me, you need two things. One, either a product with some the making of, because everybody loves a story, everybody loves process, everybody loves like, wow, how do you do this? And not to put everything behind a paywall, but it does definitely help. I've noticed anyway, people that have something that does help. The second part is if you don't have that, but you have a following, and I don't know what the magic number is for this, but if you have a following, there are people out there that are saying, like, hey, thank you so much for doing what you do. Here's $1. And $1 adds up, and it's something that you wouldn't have had otherwise, right? And the last thing I'll say is it is definitely a revenue stream that a lot of people can leverage instead of always having to come up with a product, because you can be the product, right? Maybe you work, like, maybe you're like me and you do concept art and other things like that at a day job. I could have a Patreon just showing like design stuff that I come up with and character designs and things like that. That's a different audience for different things, but it's there, right? You just got to find what it is that you do, or a thing that you do, or the things that you do. Um, I wouldn't. I've seen a few people. They'll just make one, and because it's me, they don't. They're not setting it up before it happens. And I mean, I only have, I think I'm up to, I think it's 160, $170 a month, and that's no joke, obviously, right? That's real money to a lot of people. But I could, or everybody could have so much more. It's that, what are you it's kind of like you guys that are watching. Some of you, you might not have an audience. People don't know you yet. So when you ask for money, people are kind of like, I don't know you. It's kind of like having your hat out. Please, could you give me $1? Whereas if you're putting stuff out, Gary Vaynerchuk talks about this, and this is a huge thing for me as well. Everything is free, 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 free. You give, you give, you give, you give, and then you ask. You don't demand, or you don't say, now you pay. It's you give. Everything's always out there. And then when it comes time to it, it's like, if you guys are interested, there is this as well. And thank you if you help. That, and it's not fake. Don't be fake about it. It's real, right? Because I appreciate that when I meet a new artist. Sometimes I'll find an artist and be like, what do they have? Do they have stuff to buy? You never know who's at your stuff. So I know that was all over the place, but I hope there was something in there that maybe helped you with your Patreon stuff. Would what would Momo sound like? A sassy black woman from the Bronx or a high pitched college girl? Um, when we first meet Momo, the high pitched white typical Valley girl, 100%, temper tantrums, all that. As the story's gonna play through, I'm hoping, obviously it's got the story here. I have like very humble origin stuff here, right? And if I can get to where I would like to get to, it is going to be one of those dramatic changes, I suppose. And that can be taken in a bad way or a good way, because people get used to a certain kind of style with a character and then they radically change, and that's either people like it or people hate it. So I don't know. But for now, to answer your question, definitely the Valley Girl. Whether they're black or white, I don't know. Doesn't what the voice doesn't matter. Just very like, can we get going now, please? That kind of stuff, impatient. Basically the polar opposite of Jesop in every way, for the most part. Your Patreon is really nice. It's not overflowing, and it's really nice to see updates. Oh, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. The thumbnail roughs. And the concept of mouse. VF, are you one of the dollar pledges or the three? Because I think, yeah, yesterday I posted all four of, or today I think it was. I posted all four of the breakdowns and stuff for you guys. Igbot. I have my Patreon page. What is that? Something was vibrating. I have my Patreon page set up, but I've yet to launch it. As you said, I want to have something good to show before I do, at risk of getting stuck in prep limbo. Yeah. So okay. Well, we can figure this out right now, Ink. It's not. It's really not that tough. So I can ask you a couple questions just to get you started, right? Like, so. Okay. Here's a good question. Where do you normally post your artwork, or what is it that you do? What is it that you do online? You're at the three. Okay, cool. So VF, yeah. So what I was talking about earlier is what's that? Wish I could do more, but no, no, no. Hey,
That is not what I. I appreciate that, but that is in no way at all what I was asking. The reason I was asking is because you weren't here at the start of the stream when I was talking about for this month anyway, for the $3 pledgers. Or I'm going to show how we one of the Jesop King pages coming up, how I take the thumbnail and then do that silhouette method and then break it down because it's what I've noticed, and I hope a lot of people dig it, is that it's for me anyway, it's been very a lot of speed. I've gained a lot of speed from it, and I know these pages aren't super complicated, but there is some magic in there that some people might dig or might change the way you look at something. So that's why I wanted to bring that up. And don't ever feel ashamed. Trust me, man. Thank you so much for anything and anything you're doing, anything you have done. I honestly appreciate it, and that goes for everybody. Even if it's been a share or a like or anything like that, a comment, coming in here talking to me, all that stuff, without getting too like mushy eyed and stuff like that. I honestly, I will always appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. So how does that look? Okay. Let's see if I missed a line somewhere. Okay, F9. All right, we got a ship. We got a ship. Cool. Okay, so let's lower the opacity on these guys. We don't need a thumbnail there. We can turn that off. And we're gonna make two folders in here. One for Momo, one for Jessup. I feel like the more I keep saying Jessup and Momo, people are just gonna start getting like, ugh, shut up, shut up about it. Don't like those names. Okay, Inkbot says I post arts on ArtStation, DeviantArt, and Twitter. Also do some T-shirt stuff on TeePublic. Okay, so the next question is, if you were to gauge your audience, like I don't want to say your retention, but your interactivity, when you post something, on average, how many likes? How many do you get a comment? Is there is there people? I don't say people asking you, but do you find that you get more out of people asking you for help, tips, and advice, or do you get more of the "that's cool, I want to see more"? Do you know what I'm saying? The difference there. For myself, I tend to get a lot more questions about. Now it's starting to switch into oh that stuff looks cool, and it's always kind of been there. But for the most part, even some people that came in today, nothing wrong with it. It's the I need some help with this or that. Can you take a look at this and that sort of stuff, right? So the reason I'm asking you that is it's not to judge anybody that's following your stuff. It's more so that's your audience. So you can start to customize some of your Patreon choices and stuff. Uh, in my opinion, to like sort of maximize what it is you're getting. Okay, what the hell is going on here? Let's back this up. Okay, we need to figure out a little bit more of this head. It's one of those complex angles. Whew. So we can rotate it here. Neck. Come in here. I like I'm hunching forward a bit more. And these are so small here, so I want to be careful. Like what I was saying before, what I would normally do is I'd come in here right and like every muscle, but when you look at this, it's like this, right? And it just becomes a blurred mess. Overkill. You do not need all of that at all, right? So I could have this. So we're gonna tilt it a bit, right? Because one arm's coming forward, one's coming back. So we got a circle for there. And the hips. Wait, what? I've got this backwards. I've got this backwards. That's why it's not jiving. Alright, so now this leg can kind of come forward. All right, it's a little better. Let's see if we can still salvage this. Ooh. So I'm gonna have to use the fine line right here. Yeah, I actually have heard nice things about ArtStation as well. Do you recommend ArtStation? I feel like it's like I don't know how long it's been around. I just stumbled upon it maybe a few months ago, and there's a lot of people on there like heavy hitters that I consider heavy hitters that I look at their stuff all the time, and it's like wow, there's really good stuff there. Inkbot, I feel like it. I feel more focused and professional than DeviantArt. Okay, that's cool. John, more of the latter. When I get stuff, comments and likes on DeviantArt and ArtStation are more sparse. Okay, so then I would gravitate towards just in your case. So in my case, I think a lot of people check out my stuff because now that I'm hopefully once Jesop King starts going, it's an actual project, so it's a thing I'm doing. It's not stuff I've done that nobody might ever check out. It's a webcomic, it's free online, go check it out, right? So I'll start to go into what I would suggest you would be doing now because people aren't necessarily coming to you for help and tips and blah blah blah. They want to see your stuff. They like your stuff, right? So what I would do personally is have an idea of a project that you're going to start, and that might sound lofty, but it could be just sketchbooks. It could be an art book, but like digital. You know, you don't have to buy an actual art book, or you can if you want. Just do it your thing. I'm suggesting a. Let's say you were to do a monthly, not a monthly. I don't know, just off the top of my head, 6 months for a new art book, right? And it's gonna have process, sketches, development, maybe a little blog here and there of like things you're thinking of, just stuff like that of you building the thing. And I think that would do you a lot better than necessarily just going like, "Hey guys, here's a picture I did. That's only for you guys." That's sort of what I kind of do now on my Patreon. Here, you know what? Here, let's do this. So I hope this doesn't piss off current patron subscribers, but we'll just go through a couple here, okay? On my Patreon. Just so you can kind of see. And again, this is not to gloat or nothing like that. I just want to help. If I can help, I'm hopefully able to do that with you guys, okay? So you guys all know this on here. You got your overview, all that stuff. If you go to posts, this will be for people that are patrons only, right? So this is a page coming up. So today, anyway, I posted because again, like I said, a lot of people come to me. I find for people that are into process and things like that, eventually it's going to just be this. This is what the goal is that I would like to get to. Just everything's funneled through Jesop King, and once that's done, then it could be Castle Dracula. But it's the behind the scenes building stuff. So when I go to, let's say on what is that site again? Comixology. When I go to sell this kind of thing, that it would one sec, Jason. One sec. Once I go to like sell this stuff, this is great content that I can add at the like. Let's just say the first story of Jesop King is 40 pages, right? And I go, hey, for it's free online, it always will be. But let's just say for $2 you can download the whole thing, right? And you'll also get like 10 pages or more, or 40 pages of all of this rough stuff. Not everybody cares. Most people don't. Some people, they don't want to go through the whole backlog of a website to look at stuff. It's all right there for a buck or two. They've heard some things from a friend, blah, blah, blah. Or maybe you've been following and you're like, it goes again with the Patreon thing where it's like, well, $2 helps support that person. I'll do that, right? Because I want more. Plus, you're getting all this kind of stuff here. So do you see how it fits with itself? That's the idea there, right? So on here, again, I get a lot more teaching sort of things, I guess, because those are the questions that I normally get. So this is stuff that I just posted recently too. This is for stuff that I would do at my day job, right? Let me just click so you get a little bit better of an image, I hope. Right? So this is silhouetting, right? This is the stuff I talk about doing at work, where it's this forest kind of character. And you can't really see the details in here if this is a small monitor and stuff, but you know, this is the stuff. It's process. This is stuff that, you know, and then here's a big write-up of stuff about the character and stuff like this, right? Go down, here's another example. More process stuff. And then these are like the little like podcasts that I do. Here's another idea of process. But it's teaching. Do you kind of see what I'm saying? Or I'm trying to hopefully show is that it's showing you guys how to hopefully, you know, build on things. Some design. Here's some plots. These are here. I think these are yeah. So like anyway, that's enough for that. But do you see what I'm trying to say there? I would hopefully help that hopefully that helps sort of decide that for you there. Um, okay, so if you want to gear it towards comics, then make comics and almost dedicate your Patreon, in my opinion, to showing your comics or your how you're making the comic. I think that would be huge for you, as opposed to necessarily just, hey guys, here's a page post done. You know what I'm saying? All right, Jason, you on here right now? So give me a second here. I just want to finish this panel. I just got to draw Jesop here. How do you? So MTG Blogger in the chat right now is my brother, and he's talking that Street Fighter V smack. So just give me about 10 minutes or so. I'm just gonna finish these up, and then we can have some fun. How's it look on that screen? You can't even see it. Yeah, it's so small. Hey, Justin, how's it going, buddy? Hey, Jojo. Yeah, it's so hard to see on this second screen here. Everything's so small. Some food for thought. I noticed Patreon changed your system again, so I have to give the page once over. Yeah, I have to do that too. Now you can like have pictures for like pledges and stuff. So you go to a lot of other ones and they look real pretty. Mine's still that old school stuff. Yeah, thanks for reminding me. We have to fix that up too. All right, so let's get all Jessop's line art here. I'm good, Justin. Thanks, man. Thanks for asking. So here, I'll just show you guys too the the power.
The power of like a silhouette, right? We've got all these shapes in the distance here, right? But when you zoom out, do you see how, again, if she had that big tuft of hair in the back, a lot of that gets drowned out. But by keeping it simple, a lot of it doesn't get hidden anymore. You still know who she is and all that stuff. We'll just put her shadow underneath there too, maybe. We can change that after. And the last one here is just get the background. Yeah, that's true. Jason, you still here, bud? Okay, so this is pretty much done here, you guys, for this panel. I'm going to wrap this up here. Let's just turn this all on so you can kind of see what's going on. And we'll turn the breakdowns, and then we can put the text all the way up here so you can see it. All right. I still have to fix the balloons because they're not totally done yet. They're just placeholders for now. But yeah, so this one will be done. Actually, we'll have to play with those contour layers because those aren't good. So we'll start with the ship. This is why it's good to always go back to your previous work because you can find out like. So what I'm trying to do is find the contour layer that I had on here, but see the width that I was kind of using for it. So where's second one? Oh, we weren't using it there. Okay, so we'll go panel 1. So it was 4. So that means we can go here with the ship. And 4 wasn't enough. That's that. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. So I'll try to do a stream tomorrow. Not sure. We'll see how it's going. Like I said, I'd like to be able to do like 3 hours or so every night. That way we're making some steady progress on the personal projects and all that good stuff. So anyway, hope you guys had a good time. I appreciate it. If you guys are just catching in now, I will post the recorded version up on YouTube sometime, hopefully within the next couple of days. Sometimes it takes like a week, just with this being always the priority, and then re-uploading stuff is kind of at the back burner. But anyway, I do appreciate you guys' time. Thank you so much. Keep reading comics, keep making comics, keep making comics, and keep making comics. Oh my goodness. It's one of those nights, I think, you guys. Keep reading comics, keep making comics. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye bye.